Hey there, how's it going everybody? This is Jacob Kilby here once again. This video is going to talk a little bit about my life and my heart transplant journey. I was born on September 8th, 1995. When I was born with hypoplastic left heart syndrome, which is a congenital heart defect where the left side of your heart doesn't fully develop. And in my case, I had to have a heart transplant. Now, there are other options that you can do before the heart transplant, which I personally had done, which is a 3-stage open heart surgery called the Norwood procedure. So my first open heart surgery was when I was just 2 days old. Shortly following after that first one, I had 2 other ones performed. Unfortunately, the Norwood procedure did not work out for me, and so my only other option was to get a heart transplant. Luckily, I received an organ in time and received my first heart transplant at 2 years old. Because of that organ donor and because of that life-saving heart transplant, I've been able to live a pretty normal life. I was able to go to all public schools. I was able to play basically any sport that I've wanted to play. I've surfed, I've ridden dirt bikes, I've played ice hockey, I've done everything. I've kept up with all my friends and all. So like I said, I was able to live a pretty normal life. And then before I graduated high school, senior year, I noticed myself getting more tired. I went to the doctors for just a normal checkup and stress test, which a stress test is where you run on the treadmill and every 3 minutes it inclines and gets faster. Unfortunately, during that stress test, I did not reach my goal up to where I was supposed to reach. So with doing further testing, the doctors configured that I was going to need a second heart transplant. The reason being is because now I have what's called transplant vasculopathy, which is where the arteries inside of your heart build with antibodies, which is a form of rejection to your heart. So in December of 2014, I had 2 stents placed in my arteries. Those arteries are just little rubber spacers that pretty much prop open your arteries so the blood can flow through. Now I've been on the list for about 9 months now, waiting for a heart. Just roughly about 5 weeks ago, I received a call from my doctor. I was in Hamul about to go to my little brother's baseball game. And this call, the doctors told me, we have a heart in for you. And I kind of just sat there in shock. I didn't really believe it because I had been on the list for quite some time and I just never thought that the call was going to come because of the shortage of organ donors. So once I received the call, immediately my mom rushed me to the hospital to get my second heart transplant. On the way there, I called family and friends and everyone met me at the hospital. Shortly after I had arrived there, I was down in the procedure room ready to get my second heart transplant. Unfortunately, the only way the surgeons can fully find out if the heart is 110% okay to put into your body or into my body was for them to open it up. And so while I'm laying there in the procedure room ready to get my second heart transplant, with so many mixtures of emotions running through my head, it turned out that the heart that I was going to receive was no good. And the reason that was is because the heart had coronary artery disease, which is also a heart defect where the antibodies or some form of something gets inside of your heart and restricts the blood flow. So unfortunately, I was unable to receive my second heart transplant that day and was pushed right back up into the waiting room. So now I've been on the waiting list still again and again, and my goal is to get Swell Hearts to become big, to get a huge new group of organ donors to arise. The problem is over 123,000 people are in need of an organ in the United States. We know the problem. We need more organ donors. This is really crucial for the United States. I want the United States to become the top continent in organ donation. So if you guys can please help me and the Swell Hearts team make that happen, that would mean all the world to me. So thank you so much for visiting my website and hearing my story. See you next time.